We're back.
Yes, we are back in action after a very long break.
A very long hiatus. We know you all missed us.
Mm-hmm. All of you.
Yes. So this is Joker here.
And this is Madfish.
We're going to get it going with a little story. A little story about, well, it's the last reading I did for one of my classes. And it was about this French philosopher, teacher in the 1800s, I think. Mm-hmm. And I think it was then. And he wrote a book. And he was a very famous philosopher. And his book was very famous. And there were some students in Belgium who spoke Flemish. They speak Flemish in Belgium, right? I believe so, yes. Okay. So they spoke Flemish. And they wanted to know what he said. But there wasn't a translation of the book. And he didn't know Flemish and they didn't know French. So he gave them the book, or they got a hold of the book, and without a French dictionary and without any sort of help from a translator, they translated the whole book into Flemish using their understanding of Flemish and the roots of words. They saw common roots and deciphered the book. And then they wrote back to him in French about the book, about what he said, analyzing what he said, and it was all in very, very good French. It wasn't in elementary school French. It was eloquent French. And
how'd they manage this?
Well, like I said, they went through the different words that have the same roots, and they deciphered what he said.
It was like a puzzle,
yeah, like a puzzle. So you think, wow, that's fucking impossible. You can't possibly do that. And without any, basically the point of it was, then when the philosopher saw this, he was astounded. He couldn't believe that these kids had done it without any teacher at all. And that's when he realized that the idea of teachers is a little silly. That he decided that, what did he say? Basically, so he's talking about how, like, the idea of teachers, we just have these people who are getting, you have students who are getting, it's this power division, right? And if you have this power division in which people are getting explained to all the time, then they never really think for themselves, and they're always just getting explained to. You use the word explicate. It's just this system of explication in which we think the teacher is necessary to gain any knowledge whatsoever. And he said that what we should do, considering what these students have done without any teacher at all, and they just figured it out for themselves, and what we think would be an impossible situation to learn a whole language, is to go into a classroom with the idea that everyone has equal intelligence.
Okay.
And so I don't know. It's just kind of interesting. I think about kids in class always wondering what the teacher wants and all those different things, and
as if the teacher's all knowing.
Yeah, I think especially that's why a lot of people you read about, great people, didn't like college or didn't like school because they didn't feel that power relation. They didn't think that the person was any smarter than they were.
Yeah, well, I agree in that extent because it kind of represents how rigid our education system is, because it sets the teacher, or whatever you want to call it, as the absolute powerhead. And it assumes that the teacher cannot learn anything from the students, but the students can only learn from the teacher.
Yeah, but you always hear teachers talking about how much they learn from students.
Yeah, but it's not like a formalized relationship.
Yeah, I think it's what the students take into it. Everyone always thinks that they need a teacher for something, that they need to take a class before they can understand something about. So, and not to say that classes can't help you, but to say that's the only route to knowledge. So that teachers are the only route to knowledge. Though I find that teachers are one of my greatest sources of wisdom, but it's also a critical understanding of them and trying to gain what I want to, or gain what I think is valuable.
But what do you think would be a real world alternative to a teacher, other than the translation using the roots, like in the example you just provided?
What do you mean?
What would be another way people could learn other than the teacher?
Well, they learn there's trial and error. So obviously these people went through a lot of trial and error. And a lot of people, I don't know, like just going through and making mistakes, and then you learn from those mistakes better than anyone can teach you that it's a mistake, just telling you that it's a mistake. Don't do this, do that. And you don't really know why. practically why.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it depends on the discipline, but I think, I don't know, my teacher, see, this was in an English class, and he tried the whole year to kind of institute this and get discussions going. We're all kind of on the same level.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I think empowering the student as much as possible to realize that they can critically think just the same as the teacher can.
I think that's a very good point. And in addition to that, I also feel like it's necessary to teach not to be afraid of failure, because the way kind of exam push it up, the way the whole learning process is set up, it teaches you to be afraid of failing, as failure is a bad thing. Like doing poorly on a test, getting something wrong is negatively looked at. Whereas I feel like the greatest source of learning there is learning from your mistakes. You're never going to learn anything unless you actually try things where you might fail at.
Yeah.
And so failure is one of the greatest sources of inspiration, especially if you're open-minded to certain things.
Yeah. Have you seen Ashton Kutcher's MTV speech?
I haven't seen Ashton Kutcher's MTV speech.
He was a Teen Choice Awards or something like that. And he was just making Jobs, the movie about Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
And it was a pretty interesting speech, actually. You wouldn't think that something sophisticated would come out of his mouth, because that's just the way you view him and the characters that he acts. But he actually seems like a really smart guy. But he said when he was studying Steve Jobs, that Steve Jobs said that people tell you that you come into the world and that there's a way that the world is, and it's your job to operate within the way the world works. And what Jobs said was that the people who made the world were no smarter than you are. So you shouldn't view it like some sort of constraining system. And I feel like that's what this is saying too. I mean, the thing, if people are like, well, I remember when I was in class, someone was like, well, I don't want someone to do brain surgery on me through trial and error or something.
Yeah.
Like, you can't figure out brain surgery. I can't figure that out on my own. And sure, maybe now, but someone did.
Yeah, that's how it started off.
Yeah, that's how everything started off, is someone did something new. So you can't, to say, and the point that the philosopher made was, if it's possible once, then it's always possible. So I think we sell ourselves short a lot, and we're taught to sell ourselves short. It's a way to control us in a way. If people thought that they could do everything on their own, probably wouldn't buy as much shit.
No, we definitely do. And another fact is we almost forget where all genius came from. Basically, almost every single huge innovation that thought outside the box was heavily criticized at some point or another.
Yeah.
And I feel like the difference between quote unquote genius and failure is your success. And so
I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
That's a quote, yeah.
And I feel like it's extremely applicable, and too often we forget that. And if you just stop a second and analyze and look at all the greatest innovators in the world, they all had to go through so much shit before they could actually prove themselves. Yeah. And I mean, the world is set up for you to not want to go through shit, but going through shit is a great thing. Yeah. I've seen that in that book we talked about, The War of Art. The idea that where you get the most resistance is actually the path that you would want to take. I find that a lot with a lot of things I do. When people give me shit about it, like they go out of their way to give me shit and involve in the conversation, I'm just like, that's probably the right thing that I want to do. Yeah, then, right. I was like, I am so glad I made you mad. I was like, why do you care? You know. No, if you piss someone off, it means you've challenged something that they strongly believe in to a point where they become somewhat insecure about it. No, and you said in the book that it's a lot about people who can't overcome their own resistance. They attack people who seem to be becoming independent. And it's kind of happened with this class that I'm about to take. A lot of my friends, you can I don't know, it's very telling when you get some people who just it sparks them to just criticize you or people who are involved with you about this kind of thing. I remember, one friend keeps telling me that he's going to just fuck with me as much as possible, and he was arguing with me. I mean, he's a pretty argumentative guy, but he was like, tell me why you're doing it. Explain it to me, make you understand. What is the class you're going to take, by the way? So I'm taking this class called Living Deliberately next semester, and I'm basically going to undertake all these different monastic traditions.
not just related to Buddhism. But some of the overarching things are I got to get up at 5 a.m. every morning without an alarm clock eventually, and I can't touch anyone for the whole semester. I can't drink any alcohol. I can't do anything sexual, which all my friends find is the worst part. They say, "Oh, you can't have sex." I'm like, "Yeah, I know I can't have sex." Like, "Can you jerk off?" I'm like, "No," and they're like, "Oh my god," they freak out over that. But yeah, so there are all these different things, and it's gonna. I think people think that it's gonna disconnect me, but I think it's gonna do the exact opposite. I think it's gonna connect me more than I've ever been connected to people, to everyone.
I completely agree, because you're gonna have a chance to really observe from outside of everything, because this is gonna put you kind of in a completely different perspective.
I'll be in touch with everything. Actually, I think I'll be completely aware. I will be inside of everything.
You will be aware of everything that matters, but you'll out of touch of everything that disconnects you in the sense of everyday life.
Yeah, I think
you'll be in touch with the truth.
Quiet my mind of desires. I think that's the monkey mind or the elephant mind. That's an idea in Buddhism.
Mm-hmm.
That your mind is a wild bull, and you have to, or that your thoughts are like carbonation bubbles, and that you're just trying to get your mind to be calm, and calm like a lake, and then you can see the reflections will show you different things. You know,
there's a lot of really good quotes about it.
Yeah, it sounds really nice, huh? I was talking to the guy who's going to run the class, and he said that people generally find that their relationships with other people improve, that they get drastically better, and that relationships that were toxic, they realized that they were toxic through the class, and then they ended them. So, I don't know, I'm pretty excited.
Well, yeah, even if this might not be the deepest level of analysis, you might also find out who your real friends are.
Yeah.
And, because, a real friend would not only just support you through that, but understand you and what you're doing.
Yeah, I don't know. See, some people don't. They don't understand the philosophies behind it, and that's fine. I don't know. I think it's more about people just not feeling threatened by it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some people feel threatened by it. I know when I got rid of my phone my senior year, I had some people who felt threatened by it. A lot of people, actually. And when they got mad at me, it was just, I don't know, it was weird. And it was weird. I don't know. And then there were some people, like really good friends, we didn't even talk about it. And it was awesome.
Uh-huh.
You know? And then you just realize who's in it who sees you as like a way to confirm their own lives and stuff like that. So, I don't know. It's interesting.
But if you think about it, even when you took your phone away, you were really thinking outside the box. You were doing things that were against the norm or what people are used to.
Yeah.
And I feel that this might be a very cliche thing and common knowledge, but it is important to know how people really just react to change really poorly. The prospect of change. And that, though, in itself is a thought process.
Because they look into what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And they see the change that you're making. And I think it's a change that not the specific change, but the way to go against your circumstance. Because people sometimes find themselves victims of circumstance, and that's a poor way of thinking about it. You don't want to think about yourself as a victim, but sometimes you find yourself caught up in that thinking, so it's easy to sometimes antagonize people who are getting out of it.
Yeah. Well, I feel like we all kind of get stuck in it sometimes, but I think one of the really important things is to realize it. And I feel that's like the one thing that your class might do is, since you're going to have a different perspective in the world, you're going to be able to realize a lot of things that not being caught up in them, you'll have a chance to kind of observe from an outside perspective. Mm-hmm. And that'll give you a very impartial sort of viewpoint on them.
Hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the goal. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Every time I get an email about it or something from my teacher or anything, I just get a big grin on my face. Oh, I'm so excited.
What do you think is going to be just out of what you know about it now, I know it's very limited, but the most influential thing, the most difficult and yet rewarding thing to do?
Difficult yet rewarding. I think a month of silence.
Yeah.
If you were looking for the combination of difficult and rewarding, I think it'd be that one. I mean, I've done 10 days, but 1 month. Especially, I mean, I did 10 days in an environment where no one else was speaking. I'm going to be doing 1 month in an environment where everyone's speaking. And people will be expecting me to speak back to them, too, and I won't be able to. So, that, I think, will be hard. Difficulty, not touching anyone will be hard.
Especially having a girlfriend.
Yeah, that's gonna be pretty hard. I wonder what that's for. I really do. I don't know what it's for. So people are asking me all these things about like why this, why that. I was like, I don't know.
I'll find out.
That's the thing. It's like I'm doing something to where I purposely won't know the answers to why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Do you know, or like what the effects will be? And it sounds like something interesting. Like I have some kind of understanding of it, but I want to know more. So I'm putting myself into something.
Yeah, you're pioneering.
Yes, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. I'm excited.
Yeah, and does this tie into? Do you think this will tie into any other aspects of your life significantly? Namely, possibly soccer.
I think I'm going to be.
Sports.
I think I'm going to be more focused on. Sports. I think sports will improve. I really do.
Do you think there's anything that will kind of go down in terms of anything that won't benefit from this?
Things that were probably needed to be on their way out anyway.
Fair enough. So in the end,
bad habits.
Oh, look at that. That's
dependencies. Yeah, those kind of things. I think those things will hopefully be realized and phased out.
Mm-hmm.
That's the goal. What was I going to say? So Kenya. Tell me about Kenya.
So,
are you going to be fighting lions?
That is a possibility. However, I'm hoping it's not a plan. But yes, speaking.
I'm not saying that as some sort of generalization of African countries. I'm saying that because you told me that their village actually gets attacked by lions, right?
Yeah, they have several raids on not a monthly basis, but a yearly basis of lions, and these lions kind of group together, and they're very smart lions because lions apparently are quite smart.
Yeah.
And at night, they raid the village and try to eat all of their cattle. And so basically what happens is the Maasai, the tribe that's there and I'm going to visit, they have warriors, and the warriors start fighting the lions and chasing them and hunting them. Except, there's 20, 30 lions. There's a lot of lions. And it's just like a full-out little war that breaks out. Like in the Lord of the Rings style, just like the scene with the wolves, minus the orcs riding them, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're gonna go to this village. It's relatively remote, as you can tell by the lion attacks, in the middle of the savannah in Kenya, and we're gonna try to introduce stoves that are more sustainable and cleaner, because they have extremely high rates of lung cancer and other respiratory illnesses due to indoor pollution.
The people do?
Yes, the people do, especially the women that stay indoors and cook all day.
Okay, question.
Answer.
Question. This relates to what we were talking about earlier.
Perfect.
And this is a common challenge of aid, what you might call what you're doing, aid to developing places, right? And it gets back to the idea that people need to be taught in order to improve their situation, right? So you're going into this place and giving them something and saying, this is what you need to fix your problems, and this new mud thing, right? A new mud stove too, right?
Well,
that's one of the other things.
Continue on your thought, because then I got an answer for you.
Okay, yeah. So it's basically, I know you're one of the. I know you're talking to the guy, and you guys are going through different solutions that you would want to do together. So it is not just you pontificating or whatever, or telling him exactly what he needs to do. But I don't know. Do you think that plays any part in it, like dependency at all? And other, like, why is this not a problem that they could fix on their own? Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think you bring up an excellent question, which fortunately we've addressed, because in the past, that's what aid used to be. It's like white man going to black man, excuse me for my bluntness, but telling them what is right and showing them how to do it. Or even in more extreme places, doing it for them.
Yeah, giving them food.
Right? Exactly. And this has kind of developed a codependency, like a dependency on the Western world of developing nations for certain things. However...
Well, no, I'd say it's more... They're definitely more dependent on us than we are.
Well, yeah, it's codependency.
Shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
We're going to be fine.
We'll be fine. But yeah, it's a dependency of developing nations on the Western world. However, recently things have begun changing, and there's been more empowerment. Because our whole plan isn't to just go in there and tell them what's right and do it. We plan to learn a lot from going there. So we're already almost setting ourselves up, not as a teacher-student relationship, but more as like a sharing of knowledge relationship.
An exchange.
Yeah, we plan to go there because we feel like we have a possible solution to the problem, and we kind of want to analyze and see if it'll actually address those issues or not. And we're going to involve the community in doing so. So we're going to teach them how to, this is the one part of the relationship, how to possibly build this stove that's made out of mud. It's just a simple design of a mud stove that's more efficient and can be made with any materials. And then we're also going to show them a new technology which directly harnesses the power of the sun to cook food. And these are just solar-powered cookers, and they function with no electricity or nothing, just simply by sunlight, concentrating it. And then what they're going to do is teach us about themselves, about their way of life, about what they do, and
that's going to be so cool.
That'll bring kind of overall assessment of whether this is a viable alternative. Because while I think you do bring up a good point that it's wrong to go in there with a strict teacher-student relationship, in a sense, the modern or industrialized world has had a chance to create a lot of different technologies that simply due to the fact that they're so rural, they don't have access to, and yet has the potential to address a lot of their problems. And especially because right now in the industrialized world, I'm talking Europe, the US, China soon to be, we kind of went about things in the wrong way, in the sense that if everyone in the world lived like the average person in the US, there is no way the resource in the world could support it. And so developing countries and nations and areas have a chance to do it right. And it's a lot easier to bring completely new infrastructure to a place, such as completely introduce this custom of cooking by solar power, for example, when there's already not an easier, more viable alternative, as opposed to trying to change the ways of people in the US, per se, that already have like commodities. And as inefficient they may be, they are more comfortable to use and more convenient. So what's happening right now is there's this whole demographic shift.
It's 23 hours.
Thank you.
What is that?
That's my computer telling us it's 23 hours.
It tells you when the hours are?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Helps me keep track of time. But anyways, what I was saying is that there's a huge opportunity in developing countries to create infrastructure that's done correctly. And I think that in the long run, this is what's going to help save the world, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, I like the idea of, I mean, you're not going to, I don't know, someone say, oh, we're too involved, so let's get uninvolved. Well, that's probably not going to work with all the different communications that's going on. Like, this is just a little personal thing, personal connection you have with this guy. Yeah. But I think it's the new, probably a progressive model to just to share, to see it on, because this is kind of what the guy's talking about, seeing people on as equal intelligence. So you're going in there learning something from them, and they're learning from you, and you can help each other out in different ways. And I don't know, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, in fact, for the solar stove company, we are, when that's called One Earth Designs, we are actually going to be conducting sort of testing and surveys to see how they can better their product. So we're going to send them that information at the end, and they're going to assess of how they can improve their product. So the actual product may be improved just from the knowledge and information that we gain through this trip. And that's really what makes this kind of an equal sharing of information. Because by going there and actually interacting with them, we might find out that this thing, with some changes that the Maasai people may very well suggest, could be the perfect solution, not only for them, but for other people too.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing to point out in this is that we completely started from absolute scratch. It's like this is not part of any organization, and it really kind of makes you understand how dreams and like thoughts and ambitions are really within your reach. All you have to do is take that first step into materializing.
Yeah, but also, I mean, you have to admit you are all in a great circumstance to do this.
Agreed.
To fly over there, to do all those different things.
However, we are completely crowdsourcing the project. So
Are
it's being crowdfunded for almost all of it, with the exception of the flights.
Okay.
But like all of our food and stay, we're using the platform of Indiegogo. Have you heard of that?
No.
Indiegogo is basically a platform, much view it as kind of the Facebook of the crowdsourcing.
Yeah.
Do you know what crowdsourcing is?
That's like Kickstarter or Kickstarter.
Yeah, exactly.
Where you put a project on that. and
It's
then people fund
basically
you.
another version of Kickstarter.
Yeah.
It's like the competitive Kickstarter, so to call it. And so we've set this up, and based on the donations that people give us, we have certain things that we give back. So if you give us a $30 donation, we'll bring you back an authentic Maasai keychain. $70 a bracelet. Authentic.
Yeah.
Handmade, yeah.
People love that authentic shit.
It is. It is very lovable.
Do you think Chobani's a fad?
You're going to have to repeat that.
I was having this conversation with people, and I think Chobani's bullshit.
What's Giovanni?
The Greek yogurt. You know, Greek yogurt.
Uh-huh.
You know where they had the fruit on the bottom and then the yogurt on the top?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you mix
It's
it
really
up.
good.
Yeah, it's good, but it's a fad, dude.
What do you mean?
It's really, because everyone likes, they're like, oh, we got this authentic Greek yogurt, I think it's so cool, because it's from another country, and you gotta mix it up, but it's probably just like every other yogurt.
Oh, yeah, but I don't know. I think it's really good just because you have to, there's like little berries, and I actually enjoy the physical act of mixing it up.
Yeah, there's berries in Yoplait.
Yeah.
No, it might be more, okay, let's go back to what you're saying.
What was I saying? The crowdsourcing, yeah.
Yeah.
And so we're completely crowdsourcing it. And
No, you said, you get back certain things, the authentic.
Yeah,
kitchen.
exactly. And so, while yes, I may be in a situation that's much more set up for success than others, there's still a huge amount of people in my same situation, or possibly even in better situations, that fail to do so.
Mm-hmm.
And why do they fail to do so? Is it because they're not capable of doing so? No. I think it's because the way our world works, the way kind of this framework that you were talking about earlier, the way people design things to be, prevents you from doing things outside of the box like this.
Yeah.
And the thing that really shows you it's possible is taking the first step, because so many people have so many great ideas in their head, but they never do anything to start them.
Yeah. Yeah. I know
And what I've learned is if you actually...
The painters that don't paint, the writers that don't write,
Exactly.
the singers who don't sing, or the comedians who don't go do stand-up.
There's so many people with so much talent, and yet
Well,
they don't use it.
maybe they don't make... Some of those people are just delusional. And they think it's a crutch for them to think that they could be something great, and they haven't really done anything yet.
But do you think that
Personally.
choosing the right thing, everyone could be great?
Everyone could be great.
Everyone has the potential.
To be great at what?
At something.
What? Okay. Something.
Very general.
Okay, sure. Something.
We're taking this to the root of philosophy right now. At
Something.
birth,
Yeah.
a person has the ability to be great at something. Just anything in the world, but they have the ability
Dude,
to be
that
great at them
sentence,
if
that
that's the right
means-
thing.
That means nothing. That means nothing to me.
It means nothing to you?
That means nothing.
So-
It's just so vague. It's so vague.
No, but think about it really. Can you believe that every person can be successful?
What do you define success as?
Happy.
What do you define happy as?
At peace with yourself.
What do you define at peace with yourself as?
Not having a bunch of thoughts go through you and being able to smile every day.
Every day? No one's going to smile every day. That's part of life, is that you don't smile every day. You smile some of the days.
But you don't have more prolonged periods where you don't smile.
Are you talking about enlightened smile?
An enlightened
like
smile.
An ironic smile.
Not necessarily ironic.
Death smiles at us all, and all you can do is smile back. That kind of smile, or like a dumb smile, like I'm so happy and fulfilled?
No, it's the first one.
The first one.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to achieve enlightenment and realize the ephemeral nature of things, and that they're all just passing through, and then they're going to smile at that.
Mm-hmm.
No.
So you don't think that's a...
I don't think everyone's destined for enlightenment.
Not destined, but everyone has the potential.
I don't know.
Or there's just some people that are like, you know what?
Think about some of the kids you went to elementary school with, or you went to high school with, like, you know.
Fair enough.
No, I know, I don't know. I know and I don't know. Finding your authentic swing, all that stuff. That's from a golf movie.
What's your opinion on it?
What do I think? On I don't even know what the question is. What's the question?
Well, I've just thrown a lot of information at you. Pick one part.
Which part? That everyone can be, that it's within them at all times. Yes, I think people possess more power than they give themselves credit for.
Mm-hmm. And do you think there's a way?
All is in a man's hands, yet he lets it all slip from cowardice.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I think that's true.
And do you think
But what does it matter if we're all just afraid? I think some people are destined to be afraid for their whole lives. No, sorry, that sounds shitty. I think there's a study of monkeys, and there are these monkeys, and 75% of the monkeys have a certain genome, or genome. There's one part of their genome that is this certain way, and they go up a little bit, they go down a little bit. Their temperament is pretty even keeled. They don't really do anything special. And then there are other monkeys, the other 25%, who have a different kind of genome, and they're all over the place, and they're doing really great things. I don't know what they define it as, but it's like they have addictive personalities, so they can be very great and they can be very bad. And I think that's kind of how people are. There's like 10% of people that have a little bit more potential for, I don't know, creativity and willpower and all those different things, but that can go in a really bad direction. That can go into drug addiction. That can go into various different things. And I think there are some people who are just, it's in their nature to be the everyday person.
So you're arguing that nature is more influential than nurture?
No, I think I don't know. I think they work in concert. I don't know what the percentages is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how that answers your question.
It does not.
But if you're talking about success and that they're going to create a beautiful symphony, no, I don't think everyone can create a beautiful symphony. Can people find a purpose in their life? I don't want to be that vague. I don't like being that vague. But can they find a calling, as you might say?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Depending on whoever it is. Everyone has that little thing, probably. And they probably have multiple things. I think the idea that you have one thing is probably stupid, too. In the same way we talked about earlier, the idea that you would have there's one soulmate.
Mm-hmm.
The idea that you would have one thing that would really make you happy is probably like one path in your life that you must follow. That's probably what gets you fucked up in the first place, is the idea that I just need to find that one path and make the right decision so that I go down this right path. Even if it's that path that's really well worn, or like even for me, I guess, I'm thinking of other not worn paths where I beat my own track. Now I'm like, alright, now I need to find my own track, that one track, but there's probably not that one track. That was a long-winded answer.
It was. And I have a very short-winded question for you.
Okay.
So do you believe in destiny or not?
No.
Destiny, no.
I don't believe in destiny.
Do you believe that there's a right path for you in life?
No. I don't even know what that would mean.
Like a right path, a right course of decisions that you make that leads you on
A right?
to one, a right.
And then there's a wrong.
No, there's just a right one.
You can't have right without
There's
wrong.
many wrong paths and there's one right one.
Am I taking a right or what? What?
There's many wrong paths and one right one that you could take.
No. What? No.
But do you think
If there was, I'd probably already be off of it. If there's only one right one, and you think about all the wrong ones, then you're mathematically destined to not be on the right path.
or mathematically, statistically unfavorable?
Yes. No, I think if you start thinking like that in abstract terms, I just need to find my happiness or something, but I think it comes down to everyday little things. I think Brad Pitt was quoted saying that happiness is overrated.
Mm-hmm.
I think happiness is overrated.
I think it's underrated.
What?
Happiness is completely underrated.
I think it's overrated and misunderstood.
Underrated and misunderstood. But following my underrated and misunderstood comment, say there is different paths in life that you can take.
There are.
Because every decision you make kind of opens a door and closes one.
Yeah.
And the only thing that gets you to be in the way between you and the right path is your brain, your mind, your thinking. You're thinking of things in your thoughts. And as you were saying earlier, the thoughts are kind of like that bubbly stuff in gas, and all you're trying to achieve is that still surface.
Yeah, desire.
What if by taking away all of the thoughts, you automatically are shifted on the right path, and it's only through thoughts that you can choose a wrong path? For example, say you just broke up with your girlfriend, and your mind is obviously flustered with a bunch of different things, thought processes, created ideas, and so on and so forth. If you get rid of all those thoughts, you stay on the right path, because you just...
How would you know it's the right path?
Because you're at peace. You don't have thoughts.
How do you know you're at peace?
Because you don't have thoughts through your face.
You have no thoughts going through your face. I don't have any thoughts going through my face.
Mm-hmm.
Through my head.
Yes. But you know that feeling.
Would you think I have no thoughts?
Do you think I have no thoughts? But there's a difference between thinking.
I think you're using buzzwords and key phrases, but I don't know what they really mean.
You don't know what thinking means.
No, I know what thinking means. But being at peace and being happy and...
Have you never felt at peace?
No, I have. I have.
Is that feeling not an authentic one?
No, no, don't... Oh.
Or is this me questioning one of your beliefs and you becoming uncomfortable with it?
No, I don't know. I think when you have it, you know what it is. And I could tell you the various moments in my life when I felt at peace.
When have you felt at peace?
Okay. Moments I felt at peace. Well, there were various times during my meditation retreat that I felt at peace.
Used quotes.
At peace, yeah, because it's just a word.
Mm-hmm.
They're just words. My girlfriend surprised me for my birthday, took me to a hotel, and we were sitting in bed. We were watching the. Did I tell you about this?
You have not.
Okay, so it was like 2 a.m, and we had some wine, and the window was open, and I was looking out over the river, and this bridge that was crossing the river, and the bridge was dotted with lights.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just sitting there in silence, and the lights started changing to different colors. It was like a light show at 2 a.m. for no reason. And I still don't know why they do it, and it was just changing color after color, and it was really nice.
So you felt at peace there.
Yeah, that was nice. That was, yeah. And then, what else?
Well, in those moments that you felt at peace, what are the thoughts that are going through your head?
But I wasn't looking for those things.
Oh no.
You know, it was just. I don't know. It's just not. You're not. It's like the judgmental voice in your head isn't really talking too much. I don't know, but I think that you know it when you have it, and
You know when you don't have it. Or you
sure,
don't
I guess, but I don't think you can be like, all right, this is my goal, to be at peace. My life is to go be at peace, because those moments really more often come upon you than you seek them out. That's the nature of it. That's my experience with it, I guess. I almost said by definition, but
So you're saying you
also
shouldn't...
shrooms. When I'm on shrooms, that's being at peace. Sometimes some of it is just very. Yeah. I don't know. What about you?
Well, what about me? What?
I want to hear your stories.
Oh, my stories of when I was at peace?
Yes.
Well, the most recent one was when I found myself at peace in a McDonald's in the middle of Arizona.
Yeah. Okay. Explain. See. Okay. He told me the story before. But explain to me. So they go out. You go off to Arizona into these mountains. You're going for 30 miles in the snow in your car.
Yeah.
And you end up in the middle of fucking nowhere. But it's really beautiful, and there are meteor showers and shit.
Yeah.
Okay. That's just a quick run through of what happened. And then you go out farther. And explain to me more what happened when you got out there. How scared you guys got.
Well, basically, we hiked out from our base camp, which was already 30 miles away from any human being, basically. And we ditched our car. We were on foot with backpacks and some camping supplies, just basic necessities. We're really bear grilling it, just with a bag of rice and hot water. That's all we brought. We'd melt the snow, and that's what we'd use to cook the rice.
And a portable burner.
And a little portable propane burner.
Yeah, okay.
And all of a sudden, we set up a little tarp and jump in our sleeping bags after a quick rice dinner with a little can of tuna. And we're laying in the middle of the woods, and there's this meteor shower, and it's surreal. And it's frigid. It's like 3 or 4 degrees Fahrenheit outside. And yet, I don't feel cold. Like, I realize my body's extremely cold because I'm shivering and I feel cold, but on the inside I don't feel cold, and I'm extremely at peace because I am completely accepting of my present moment. I just accept it for what it is, and I'd rather be doing nothing else, and my mind is completely clear of any sort of thought. All I can think of is where I am at that exact moment.
So you were thinking? You were thinking.
But I was only thinking of the exact moment.
I don't want to get... Sorry.
Which means
I don't
I was
want to
living.
be one of those people who tries to break you down with this kind of stuff.
With little elemental thought forms?
No, I don't know. You just... Sometimes people attack your language or... I don't know how to put it.
It's kind of like...
like semantics of things, and it doesn't really contribute to the conversation. I'm trying not to do that with some of the things that you say. But anyway, continue.
So it's kind of like things that go beyond the scope of what's actually being said, that are kind of irrelevant.
Yeah, just nitpicking. Nitpicking.
At things that they would otherwise understand, but kind of catch you off guard on little details.
Yeah, like some things just escape our Western rationale logic, and that's a generalization too, but the idea, the logic.
Yeah.
Some things you gotta look a little, and in that way, it's a little bit rational. It's a different kind of rational.
Yeah.
But anyway, continue.
Anyways, so we're there, and after a while, my friend that's with me starts freaking out because he's feeling these crazy, energetic feelings, and it's kind of scaring him because he's never felt that before. And me, that I've kind of had a little bit more experience, what I call it, with energy and meditation and so on and so forth. I feel amazing. I feel like I'm gonna start floating or something and levitating or shit. And
it's like I said, I simultaneously believe you and do not believe. Like, I believe that you felt those things, but I don't know if I believe like the cause of it. But it sounds. I don't know. Keep going. Keep going.
You can comment on that later. And then my friend started feeling sick, so we're like, okay, it's probably the safer decision to head back to camp for the night, just because we don't really know what the fuck we're doing or where we are, and even though this feels authentic, our kind of human logic Go back to that word, authentic, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Our human logic.
You should read a book called The Authenticity Hoax. The way authenticity has been marketed back to us. But anyway, keep going.
And using that kind of human basic logic, we decided to go back just to play it safe. And the next day, my roommate throws up all day and feels extremely sick for no real reason at all that we know of.
You don't think he had food poisoning or anything?
We had rice and water, and we both had the exact same rice and water.
For the meals before?
Yeah, that's all we had.
Mm-hmm.
And so we can't really find the source. I mean, yeah, we have different stomachs, but we've eaten the same things. And so then we leave. And as soon as we leave that place, I mean, yeah, we blow a tire and shit like that, but it's kind of irrelevant. As soon as we leave that place, he starts feeling better. So it's kind of like the whole vibe that was in that area. We don't know what it is, but
powerful.
It was very powerful, and you could feel it.
Yeah.
Like you could feel this real thing in the moment. It wasn't a thought form.
Yeah.
It was.
I know I wasn't there, but it just what that moment evokes in me is just this idea of you're just powerless. I don't know. You're just everything is so much bigger than you out there. The weather, the conditions, and it all seems like it could just squash you at any moment. Is quash a word? Quash.
If it is, I have no idea what it means.
It would quash you at any moment, like the stars and the meteors. I know not those, but like the I don't know. I think I might freak out in that kind of situation too. Finding yourself bare and alone, and in that way, facing. This sounds stupid, but facing your own mortality.
Yeah,
I think it's something like that. Like the energy of the. I do believe in that kind of like the energy. I remember when I was out in my friend's cabin in Eastern Washington, and we were just out in the woods outside his house, and if you just stop for a moment, the silence was deafening. It was just.
It's a good phrase.
You know, if someone else probably said that. Just. It was just you quieted down and you just heard nothing.
Gives
and
you
it
chills
was
to the bones.
So scary and powerful. Just this nothingness because you're always used to hearing things, but in this time it was just we were out in the snow and we just sat still for a moment and then it was just silence. I feel like that's what you would feel out there. The silence and there's the unpredictability of sound too, because like you would hear things probably break or something, but you would have no idea why it was. If you're on the street and people are honking, you know all the shit that's going on, or you think
everything becomes kind of background.
Yeah, you can filter it out, but you can't filter out anything in that environment when you have no idea what it is and it's so powerful. Anyway, so I wasn't there. But.
No, but on that thought, I think a key thing is that I felt so at ease in it. And he felt so afraid of it. Or whether your explanation or my explanation prevails, what is the significance of that?
Yeah, I don't know if they're mutually exclusive. But anyway, that's...
It's like, so how did one person thrive off of it so much and almost feel like he was being lifted off the ground? The other one just feel completely sick. Was one of us being closed-minded or scared and the other one open?
Yeah.
But what happens if you embrace that whole idea and concept of being powerless and you surrender?
Yeah, I'm big into what anxiety can teach you. When you get in certain moments and you feel really anxious, I think it can teach you a lot about yourself. So I feel like that would be. I don't know. Did he feel anxious or he just felt sick? Like, did he feel like panicky?
He couldn't describe what he was feeling. He just felt not at ease.
So panicky. Probably,
yeah. He
So
couldn't sit still.
I don't know. That's interesting. That's like I remember I was reading stories about times when Freud fainted.
Yeah.
And I don't know exactly what they were, but him and his psychoanalyst buddies were they were trying to dig into like why he fainted in that moment. Okay. Anyway, go.
Yeah.
Let's keep going. So then you came back.
Then we came back and we had a blown tire. It was Thanksgiving. Couldn't fix it, so we slowly started making our way back home.
Yeah.
And the next day, we stopped at a discount tire stop. And this whole trip, we had kind of been against McDonald's. But we secretly had a craving for it. Both of us. We admitted it, but we couldn't give in because it's disgusting for you. And we acknowledged that.
Yeah, isn't the food designed to do that?
Probably.
Yeah.
On another side note. And...
Okay, go.
And basically... out of sheer quote-unquote coincidence, the only place that has Wi-Fi right next to the discount tire shop we were at, and we needed Wi-Fi because we were trying to download an audiobook, The Hobbit, to listen to on our long drive back, was a McDonald's. Okay, we'll go to the McDonald's to download our thing. Walk into the McDonald's, the 71-year-old black man punctually sits right across from us, right as we sit down. As if, he knew we were coming or something. And at first, we're both like, oh my god. He starts talking.
Is it bad that I picture Morgan Freeman?
You know what? He actually looked a lot like Morgan Freeman.
No, that's... When you told me that story at the beginning, I was thinking, that's something out of,
a Morgan Freeman movie.
Or, Will Smith in The Legend of Bagger Vance, when he just comes out of the woods, the caddy.
Yeah.
I think that's, a kind of a racist
Cliche?
trope, actually.
Well,
yeah, but anyway, keep
fair
going.
enough, this racist trope materialized into reality.
Well, I'm not... Yeah, okay. Anyway,
Yeah.
Let's just keep going, yeah.
And at first, he kind of started talking to us, and we were interested, but at one point we were like, oh my god, it's another one of those fucking preachers that's, trying to sell you religion and convert you. But then it wasn't. It was this really genuinely honest guy. He had no affiliation with any religion whatsoever, and in fact, he condemned organized religion, saying it brought you further away from the actual truth, which I completely agree with. Mm-hmm. And in saying that, he started talking about, and you're giving me funny faces, and we'll explain those later.
I'm just talking about the actual truth. The actual truth. What's the actual truth?
No idea.
Okay.
But I know that religion brings you further away from it.
Okay. All right. Go. Keep going.
Anyways, he starts talking, and he talks to me and my friend about things that are relevant in our life at that moment. But the first one, as Joker pointed out, could have been applicable to anyone in the sense he was talking about relationships. And I'd I'd been dealing with coming out of a relationship, and what was told me was extremely applicable to my situation.
What did he say?
He said that basically in life, there's something more in love and with a woman than just falling in love with them and marrying someone or being with someone because you fall in love with them. Mm-hmm. But before doing that, before choosing to be with someone, you need to be aligned with yourself and your true sense of self and your true sense of purpose, like what you feel your purpose is.
Yeah.
And only then can you actually unite with someone, and that person you unite with
unite effectively.
Yeah, is not going to be someone that you necessarily fall in love with, quote unquote, like what we describe as falling in love today. But it is someone that is going to help you along in your mission, or your sense of purpose. Mm-hmm. And he said, quote unquote, that at this point you'll feel the biggest peace you've ever felt in your life before, and if you don't, you can come back here and beat me up.
Once you've married that person or found them?
Yeah, or once you've aligned your greater sense of purpose with someone else's. Okay. And it's not like...
Is there a ceremony for that?
He didn't specify.
You, touch... I don't know. What happens? Do you have sex and, a light comes out of your genitals?
I don't know. He didn't specify, but I assume it's something
orgasm
like
at
that.
The same time and God comes down. He walks in the room and says, I told you so.
Probably.
Yeah.
But then... As I left, he started talking. I left because I had to go and check on the car. I got a phone call saying they were missing some piece, and I had to help them find it. He talks to my friend about things that were extremely applicable to his current life and his slightly difficult past he had growing up. And so I get back there, and I kind of jump into the conversation, and I get really into it, and both my friend and I start tearing up because it's so powerful and it feels so extremely authentic.
Real.
We feel the actual emotion from that. And then this man also feels really touched by us because with what we've told him about ourselves and our lives, we've almost restored his faith in our current generation.
Yes.
And so then we walk outside, and this shitty-ass place, which is a strip mall in the middle of the fucking desert in Arizona, next to a McDonald's, looks like the most beautiful place in the world. Like, everything seems so real. You just feel it all around you.
It's crazy because I hate those types of places.
Oh, I absolutely detest
They're
them.
the worst.
They're the hideous ones.
I hate strip malls in
Nowhere.
no-name towns that are
No.
like kind of big but not really that big, and then
And they try to make them like really nice.
but they're
there's-
like all chainy and
Yeah.
stuff, and you just
So, and I honestly believe that too. I believe that to be probably one of the least favorite places in the world because it's so
dead
bland.
energy. Yeah, dude.
It's so bland. It's
Just
not
sucking
even
the soul out of
especially
people.
like ugly or disgusting. It's just so bland and heartless.
Yeah.
And yeah, the fact that I was able to look at it with such just new enlightenment and appreciate the beauty of the surrounding environment despite this black hole really, really made me appreciate the power of being at peace and at ease and the importance of that experience I just had. Because thinking that this whole thing was coincidence, and I know it might be different from an outside perspective, is almost as naive as thinking that it is coincidence. If you see what I'm trying to say. It's naive to think that all of this stuff, there is no way it wasn't
the guy
coincidence.
said I was supposed to come sit down here, right? He told you that?
He did say that.
He said, like, I had a feeling, I didn't want McDonald's, I had a gut feeling. He didn't order
No, he
anything.
said he usually just goes in there and then walks back out. Gets his coffee and walks back out every morning after going on his way to visit someone to the hospital. And this day, for some reason, he decided to go sit there. And he ended up having this amazing conversation. And this man, Nate.
Shout out to Nate.
Shout out to Nate out there. Really touched us. And so that was a moment where I was extremely at peace. And I knew I was at peace with myself because I felt beauty all around me. And I felt like I loved everything about the world in that current state that it was, despite its infinite imperfections.
Yeah. Did you have this feeling, though, whenever I get these really high feelings, and then I just have to do something normal? Like, you got out and you saw the strip mall, but then you had to get in, and you felt bliss, but then you had to get in the car, and you're probably a little blissful still, but you're not as blissful as you were before, and then you gotta fiddle with the heat and the air conditioner, and there's all these little things you have to do, and then it just goes back into being everyday life, and then it's like it's gone.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying. And this time, it didn't do that because it had happened too many times for me where exactly what you happened.
So now you're still blissed out?
I'm still extremely blissed out right now.
Wow.
And
That's
maybe
a lot of bliss.
it's not as extremely powerful as it was at that moment, but I've realized that the actions you choose and choosing to do things, not because it's the way the world wants you to do them, but it's because the way you want to do them is what kind of helps you hold on to that bliss. And it doesn't mean like
But
go
I
do
thought
everything
this was all
backwards.
happened by fate and destiny. This just you didn't choose to. You just happened upon a McDonald's and it happened to be next to the discount tires.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is fate and
But
destiny.
you just said you chose to feel bliss, but the bliss seems as if it
Well,
came upon
see,
you.
fate
And
and
you were talking
destiny.
about things working out for themselves. weren't you?
Fate and destiny can only present you with an opportunity, but it is still up to you, like the ultimate decision you take. It's like things line up. Everything in your life, I believe, is lined up. It is your choice whether you choose to see it as lined up or as not. It's your choice whether you choose to observe what's going on around you as an opportunity or as a door closing in your face.
All right.
And that's why it's so important to keep on taking these new rabbit holes.
The rabbit holes. I mean, that rabbit hole seemed to have come upon you. All right, we're almost to the end, dude. Dude, we gotta do more of these.
We do have to do more of these, but the Skype ones just aren't work. We could give those a try again somehow.
I know, dude. Those suck.
I mean, I could fly all the way to Philadelphia.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. Maybe we should. I don't know. I don't know what we should do.
Crowdsource.
I feel.
Trip sponsorships.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. What was I gonna say? Oh, I feel bad, dude. I feel like I've been kind of tired, dude. I'm still on East Coast time. I didn't really sleep this morning. I would really like to do more. It sucks. You're leaving really early tomorrow.
We could. I have leave at noon tomorrow. We could potentially sneak another one in there.
Ooh, possibly. Yeah, dude. I feel like we could fit in another one, but I don't know. I want to build a rapport,
habit.
A habit. You know, like in the summer we got started later, but we built a habit of doing it.
Agree, because that's how we really get to the true content of things.
Yeah, I think that's how you get better, and I think we have a lot of places for it to go. But I don't know. Maybe we should just keep continuing it on our own or something.
We should just practice. Guest speakers, Madfish and Joker separated.
Yeah, dude, for sure.
We could do a little. Well, you're gonna be unable to speak.
No, well, just for a month. There's gonna be 1 month where I can't speak, but we'll see. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
What if we set ourselves a rule? We got to do one rabbit hole every 2 weeks.
I think it should be every week.
Every week.
I have this fantasy in my mind of doing it every week with a stranger. And I've had this fantasy in my mind for a long time. Never once has it occurred to me to actually do it. I've never even come close.
How about this?
I never even come close. It's a shame. It's shameful.
Again, how about we set ourselves a realistic expectation?
Okay.
A realistic but crazy one.
Okay.
We do it every week. And once every 2 weeks, it's got to be with a complete stranger.
Okay.
Would you be able to uphold that? Or should we do once a month?
Yes and no. See, I make all these resolutions and they never pan out.
They never pan out because you choose not to pan them out.
No, but it's because I say them and then I'll walk home today and I'll be all like, oh yes, my whole life's about to change because of the resolution. But then I just like that feeling, and then that feeling is enough for me. I mean, it's not enough for me because I get miserable sometimes when I think about it. All the fucking resolutions I made that it didn't pan out. I can name a million of them. So I kind of feel like I just want to do it, but I guess you have to make a goal. You don't have to. I don't know. Okay. Yes.
So it's kind of like meditation.
Shake my hand. Shake my hand. Yes. Okay. All right. We're good.
Perfect. We shook hands, and so you guys are allowed going to be in for some interesting content.
Interesting content coming up. Strangers on the podcast.
I'm very excited about this, actually.
Do I invite them? Okay, we'll figure it out.
Figure out logistics later.
I can teach myself how to invite strangers to the podcast. You know?
Yeah.
See, I feel like some people will be like, "Ooh, we gotta look up." I don't know. No, you couldn't really look up how to talk to strangers.
We'll discuss.
This is gonna be a total adventure.
Yeah, it's
self-taught.
It's a huge rabbit hole we're taking on here.
This is. If we don't do it, it's gonna be really embarrassing.
No, we're gonna do it. We've made a verbal agreement on.
I guess we have
recorded.
It's binding.
Yeah.
All right. Joker.
Madfish.
We're out from the fish bowl.
See you guys later. Good night.
Peace. Happy holidays.